We've installed the kit, and we're making sure that everything works on it properly. We haven't finished with the wires yet, but as you can see, the kit's installed, and we go through all the motions of moving it up and down and adjusting everything just to make sure it's perfect. But the wires you see will have boots on it. What we usually do is take the boot, cut it in half, and then put the main part back in each hole, and then use wire loom to go over your wiring, chrome or black or whatever color you want, and then fill up the gaps at the end with this black silicone. That keeps your tight seal and everything's perfect. Now a lot of people do it different ways. You can do it however you want, but that's how we do it. But this is how the kit looks on the car. The actual video of installing these, when we put them on, we did, but it was in the evening time and the lighting isn't here very good, so it's hard to see. So I'm adding, here's the daytime, I'm adding some extra video to explain what we just showed you on the actual video. Alright, so you have your frame piece. Alright, this piece here, when you mount it to the car, this is going to be your passenger side. When you mount it to the car, you have to put in this bolt, the top bolt first, not the very top one. Don't put it in here, put it in here, because this piece is a little bit in the way. Once you mount it, you have to have this one already in there, or if you mount this one up here first, you're not going to be able to come back and get this one because this piece gets in the way. Alright, so go ahead and put that one in first. This will be your first bolt you put in. Alright, once you got all your bolts in, and again, as I said, make sure you bolt this one first. Once you got your bolts in to the car, from the main post to the pillar post, bolt this to that. Then you've got your this bolted to the door. You just use the 4 bolts and bolt it directly to the door, and you'll make sure that when you can look and see from the old hinges you took off, the little indentions. You can see these little indentions right here, idea of what the holes were before. Try to match those up, and it'll make it much easier. The process will go a lot quicker. So just bolt this up to the door. Depends on how you have your door laying, with it down or with it up. You can tell that it'll only go on there one way, so you can't make a mistake. All right, so you got your door. Let's say you got your door. Leave a little swivel off. You got your 2 pieces bolted this one to the car, this to the door. Alright, when you're ready to mount the 2, and same thing with this piece, make sure you center it up according to what your hinges are. That way you can get a good start and get real close. You won't have to do much adjusting. Alright, then you and your buddy grab your door. What you'll do is it'll be like this. You'll walk it over, he'll tilt it up, the back end up a little bit, and you'll swing this arm out while he's holding it. You can swing it out. Come over here, you tilt it out a little, the door out a little bit. You know, here so you can see this. And then you just take and you slide this in. You'll have to put this up, this will swing up inside the frame because the fender's here. So it'll slide up underneath that fender, and then it'll slide in the hole just like this. Let it drop. And then you slowly let the door down. Make sure it's not going to hit the fender or anything. If you see it's going to hit the fender as it's coming down, it'll get close. As long as it's not hitting the fender, because you may have the kit too far back that way. So you may have to loosen it and move it back a little bit forward if you see it's going to hit. And you just drop it down into place, and then you can get an idea where what your gaps look like. As it's coming down, be careful, because at the bottom of the door, it could hit the bottom part of the frame. So if you see it's going to do that, it'll get closed. You'll have 1/8 inch down there, but if you see it's going to touch, then the door needs to come up. So you can take your door back after you see, and two, not only look at that, but look at the gaps, how the gaps are. If you see the gaps are too narrow or too wide, then he just lifts it back up, slide it back up, pull it back out, go put your door back on. Then you can make your adjustments down here, whether you need to go forward or back, up or down with it. Same thing with the door, the adjustments here. You need to go up or down, move it. You got plenty of adjustment to get it perfect. Plenty of adjustment. All right, then you bring it back over. Once you got it set this second time, bring it back over, slip it back down, slide it back through, slide the door back down, and look at your gaps again. You may be still off just a little bit. You may need to adjust again. If you got lucky, you might not have to do it again. These usually takes us 3 times. That don't mean it's, it may take you 1 and it may take you 10. I don't know, but just it's always good just the little mark on a little sheet exactly what needs to be done. So when you take it off, you know I need to go up an 1/8 inch and back an 1/8 inch or whatever. So you'll remember it when you take the door off. I have a terrible memory. I can't remember 2 minutes from now. So anyways, so once you got it, once you see that the gaps are okay and gonna be good, don't shut the door yet. You just want to bring it down, get it close, shut the door close so you can see how the gaps and all are. But then if you feel like that's going to be good, have you lift your door back up and put your spacers on here. The washer goes on here first, and then the spacer, and then your lock nut. And what you want to do is you want to tighten that up until it's pretty snug. Now, when I say pretty snug, I don't mean take it, wrench it down, but I mean you want to take it till, it can't go anymore. Now, you may think that's too tight, but it won't. It'll slide. It'll open and slide. You don't want it loose. You don't want it wobbly and loose. It needs to be tight, and that lock nut will hold it. So you want to be put a little snugness to it, and then you can see if you go to open your door and you can't open your door, then you got it too tight. But you'll see it'll open and close with ease. So then do that, tighten that up, lay your door back down, shut it, and check all your gaps. Check and make sure your top's good, the height on it down at the bottom, you don't want that to touch. There should be at least an 1/8 inch down at the bottom. As it's coming down, when it closes, there'll be more than that. But as it comes down, the little tip will get real close to the bottom. So you want to make sure that that's high enough there. Alright, so when you look at it, you can shut it a couple of times and see. You can play with it, open it up, and see how everything's good on it and all. And so we're good there. Now, the next thing you want to do is put on your shocks. Now, you take your buddy, and he'll have the door, he'll hold the door up. Be careful, don't lift it too high, because the top of the door will hit the fender. So you want to lift that up, and there's this little swivel here. It has to go on the top, and each swivel can't go on the other side. So this little bottom tab that's on here, the bottom tab part, has to go toward the bottom of the kit, and it goes over the boat, and it goes. The other piece goes toward the fender. So you want to make sure it's on like this. You don't want to put it on like this. This can't go toward the door. It has to go where the swivel part, the other part that's swiveling, has to go toward the fender. So alright, put that on, the tab's going down. Reason being, we have a little mechanism here that when the shock goes on, it doesn't let, see we have a swiveling system, we have to keep this shock from moving. If we didn't have that on there, this shock would serve no purpose. So it locks that shock in place. Alright, again, you got the swivel on, your buddy's got your door up. You want to put the inside shock on first. The one that's, remember the door is over here, so it's up underneath here. You can't see it, but you stick, or if you lay down, look up in there, you can see it, and that's usually what I do. So make sure when you put the shock on, you put the skinny end toward the top, and the big end toward the door. All right, skinny end toward the top, toward the frame, like it's going up. When you close it, it'll look like this. Skinny end up, fat end on the door part. Put the one up underneath there, and don't just pop one on and do the other. It's hard, it won't quite go on. Try to get them on both the same. Your buddy might have to raise your door up and down just a little bit to get it on. All right, you got that one on. All right, and then take your little the little shorty lock nuts, and then put your lock nut. Now, when you tighten these down, tighten them down till they touch, and then back out a quarter turn. You don't want them tight. It still has to move a little bit. So again, tighten them down till it touches, and then back out a quarter turn. No more than a quarter turn. You don't want it real wobbly. Just a little bit of a quarter turn. Okay. Same thing with your top.